welcome to the Cinematic Trinity with me, Kieran.
Me, Tulip.
And me, Michael.
Today we're going to be talking about two of the films that we've watched recently, one of which is M3GAN, which has just been released in cinema, and the other is the Banshees of Inisherin, which has just been released on Disney+.
Yep.
We're just going to hop right into it today, I think, and talk about M3GAN. So what were your kind of first thoughts? Oh, we're going to be doing spoilers.
So this is a spoiler review, a spoiler review. So if you've not seen the film yet, then please feel free to save this link here, save this podcast, go away, watch the film. I think we would all...
I'd recommend
the film.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
I think for a horror movie, I would recommend it. If you're not into horror movies, to be fair, I probably still would, because it's not really that.
It's not your typical horror,
is it?
No, it's not. I think it's one of those horror films that's good for people who do like horror films and for people who don't like horror films. I feel like you either love them or hate them, don't you? And it's good for both.
I think if you've seen it advertised, because it is like everywhere, like on TikTok and like social media,
which is why we went to see it, really, isn't it?
I think if you've seen the adverts for it, like it's basically what you see is what you get. Like, it doesn't take itself too seriously, so it means it's a good time for all.
It
all
is.
involved.
All the family. Bring the kids.
So I think just getting into the plot synopsis really of M3GAN is basically you have this woman who's a sort of toy maker, and she has her niece come to live with her after like a family tragedy, and
her parents die.
And then basically as a result of that, she has to make M3GAN, who is basically this new advanced toy who's basically there to help look after your child, give them all your needs.
It's a bit like iRobot, isn't it? I think that's all I could think. It's iRobot, but for the modern day.
Yeah, I spoke to my dad about it after I got back in, and he said it sounds like it's kind of iRobot crossed with Chucky.
Yes, that's a good one.
Which is actually quite a good kind of
I mean, I've never seen Chucky, but I do love iRobot. I think iRobot's a fantastic film. I think we should watch that.
Yeah.
Now. Let's scrap this. Let's watch iRobot.
Right now.
So going back to the plot. So basically this woman makes M3GAN to help look after her niece, but it's sort of this thing where M3GAN's sole purpose is to look after this child. And it's essentially this thing where AI goes a bit awry, and it's like
she's fulfilling her sole purpose of protecting this KD.
Yes. Not Katie.
I thought it was Katie, but said in an American accent, like, Katie. Oh, hi, Katie. So I thought it was Katie, not Katie.
Yeah.
But it's Katie. So, So anyway, so the doll's there to protect Katie, and that's exactly what she does. But, you know...
How far will she go?
Oh.
There's the question.
Yeah. But I think it was good. I do.
I still think if I'm watching horror films with you anyway, is quite an experience.
I'm the worst person to watch it with, because I just hate them. Like, I don't even know why I went to see it, because even the tiniest thing, like at the very beginning, the first sort of jump scare is they're in the car, a dog jumps up at the car window, and and that scared me. It's like everything scares me. I really don't like it.
I think if you don't like jump scare horror, this, I mean, not that there's too many, but that is its sole scare. That's the only jump scares.
Yeah. Well, apparently there was a more violent version of it, but they wanted it to have a lesser rating.
Oh, right,
in
not
some
like
places,
an 18.
So they had to re-edit it to make it for more the masses. I mean, I don't know why. I'd rather it just be.
Well, I think they were toeing the line a little bit with some of the stuff they were.
Yeah, it's just sort of standard 15 horror film, I think, where it is just violence, but it's one of those things what really makes an 18 horror film. I think it really has to go out there for the gore. It has to be really mature themes or something in your horror films to make it an 18 or something like that. So, but I mean, in terms of what it is here is, to be fair, if you don't like dolls, you're not going to like M3GAN, because it is from the offset.
Absolutely.
When they make this robot, they put
it's freaky.
They put the flesh mask over M3GAN.
Silicone.
Yeah. Not flesh mask.
The human face.
So it is I mean, hats off to the animatronic people and the CGI where that was for making a character like M3GAN, because there is this.
So apparently it's.
Yeah.
there's two animatronics that one of them does like the close-up, so where you see her mouth moving and maybe just, you know, the lifting of an arm. And then there is a girl who is called Amy McDonald, who does all her own stunts, apparently. She's age 12.
Wow.
And yeah, so she's the one who, when she's running about and when she's going on all fours, she's the one who does on. And they had a silicone mask for her to put on.
God,
so she's wearing. It's like, could you just imagine? I bet she was having the best time. Like, oh, just put this mask on, run along the ground. I bet that was fun. But yeah, anyway, so it was her, and then there was another person who did the voice, Jenna Davis. So she did the actual voice of M3GAN, which I think was pretty good. Yeah, to be fair,
I think it did a good job of like sort of towing the line between it being like child friendly and then also like, this slight hint of like there's something off about this. You know,
there's a bit of malice behind.
Yeah, exactly.
And her being like a sort of know-it-all, like I hate you.
Yeah,
like that scene where it's like it's like, why do I have to use a coaster? And it's like, oh, well, water gets under the table. How does that happen? Oh, well, you know,
difference in temperatures between the glasses.
It's just like, shut up, M3GAN.
Yeah. That is just what kids are like, though. They just always ask the stupid. I mean, that's how they learn, isn't it? But I can't be bothered with all that.
I hate learning.
I know. Yeah, exactly. But the doll and then the animatronic. So they had animatronic, which was puppeted by hand sometimes as well.
Yeah.
And I do think that is brilliant, and it is creepy. Like when I got into bed last night, I was like, is she going to be stood at the end of my bed? You know, that is what I was... I mean, you two probably just thought...
Nah.
Didn't give it a second thought, but...
Well, I only got an hour of sleep, so I wasn't...
Well, you're the exception to the rule, Kieran. Shut up.
Let's not talk about Kieran's sleep schedule.
Not related to the fact that we watched this film, just because I'm terrible at going to sleep.
Yeah, but no, I do think it's not going to keep me awake at night like The Woman in Black does. Like, I think The Woman in Black is just my kryptonite. I hate that film. Yeah. But it's freaky enough for it to be. I
mean, horror films are like subjective in a way because it just depends on what frightens you. That's to like how you're going to feel. Because if you don't like dolls, you're not going to like M3GAN. But if you don't...
I mean, my brother Jake, he absolutely hates dolls. Do you remember we tried to show him Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared? And he was like, no, I can't watch this, that's disgusting. He really he hates like, you know, like Thunderbirds. And have you ever seen, is it Team America? I was going to say Captain America.
Team America,
Team America, like those puppets, he absolutely hates them. So I just think, I don't think he'd... I mean, it's not quite the same, but anything that's got that sort of expression.
Yeah, no.
Wouldn't like
it. Reminds me of one of our old teachers that used to be scared of the It Clown from the... like to the Tim Curry's.
Oh yeah, the 1990s one. So not even like the scary one. Yeah. I brought the Blu-ray of it into school once, and he was like, "Oh, what are you doing with that? It's like the scariest film ever." It's like, no, it's not. It's like it's a comedy. You know?
I feel like that generation has a very different perception of what is scary, though, because it's more just, I've never seen that on telly before. I've never seen that on the screen before, because it's like new technology, but now it's like we're all a bit desensitized, aren't we?
Well, it's like when The Exorcist first came out, that was like the most controversial film ever made, and like people were refusing to show it in cinemas because it was so scary, you know. Whereas like me and Kieran watched it like however many years ago, and it was sort of like,
I'm pretty sure we were just laughing at it.
It's one of those, you could probably see at the time, I could see that this would be shocking at the time, but like nowadays it's like, because you've seen everything that comes afterwards, and maybe more gory or more like sadistic horror films, like you'd be like, pretty tame by my standards, you know.
Yeah.
Michael pretty much eating cereal like he does Saw.
Yes. My one claim to fame by a friend who says I watched Saw 3 while I was eating breakfast one morning, so it was just, nothing bad was happening, but it's just like, oh, Michael watches horror films while he eats breakfast. Like, no, I did it once. Like, you don't need to keep bringing it up.
This is not you being some hardcore man, you know.
No.
Goodness me, God, what is your life?
Yeah,
blimey.
So what?
But anyway, back to this.
Should we go like
film?
Should we
go? Film we're talking about.
Should we go like beat for beat, like what happens in the story, and just sort of talk about like our thoughts and like some of the stuff that happens?
Well, if you asked me what is the beat for beat version of this, I won't be able to tell you. But I feel like, I mean, the first thing that happens is the dog. And
That's
need
not...
to say
the very first thing.
well, it is. It's the first death.
The parents.
Yeah, parents die at the beginning.
What? That's I mean death by the doll. I don't mean accidental death in the film. I mean killing.
Yeah, so M3GAN kills a dog.
The first thing that M3GAN kills is a dog. And as soon as that dog came onto the screen, I turned to Michael and said, "Does the dog die?" And then immediately you Googled it, didn't you? Does the dog die.com? Yes, the dog dies, but off screen. So therefore, I could continue watching.
Yeah.
But it does die.
Well, I did Google it like 5 seconds before it happened, so it was just like, oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Prove 'em right.
But I needed to know. I like to know prior.
Probably apart from like one death like in an elevator, there's not like what M3GAN does isn't too...
No, it's not, because the whole point is that she's doing it to protect, but you don't encounter that many people who are causing her harm. It's only the people that might cause her harm or stand in M3GAN's way.
Yeah, it's what she interprets as harm as well.
Yeah.
Because there's kind of like different levels and...
Yeah, because like it's the dog because it's like,
Well, the dog it bites her, isn't it, when they try and get something from the other side. Yeah, so it bites
the kid she's looking after.
So that's obvious.
And then there's like a kid who's bullying, bullying the child she's looking after, Katie, and then...
There's the woman.
She kills the dog owner, but that's because it's not really...
Well, that's because they come round knocking on... She accuses...
Because they're suspicious,
She accuses...
I'm watching you, kind
of. Yeah, so she thinks, right, I've got
to it all becomes more
it all makes sense, doesn't it? And you can see why she goes about it.
Yeah, it all becomes more, like, analytical and, like, I'm not killing because they're, like, hurting this girl. I'm sort of more killing to, like, cover my tracks now,
Yeah, she was covering her tracks as well, because that is the whole point. She's learning as... She's just learning every day, isn't she? As she spends more time with Katie.
Yeah.
But I think like the scariest parts of it wasn't even like the killing and stuff. It was more just, like the shot where it's all the toys on the toy bench and then she's just there. Like that's just creepy. And when she's like looking through the window, that's creepy. But when she's like stabbing somebody,
it's like
that's not scary to me.
I think it's one of those things as well where it sort of holds a mirror up to like what our like technology wise what we do now, because it's almost like, is it too much of a leap to think we might get toys that are like smart enough to look after our kids? And then
I mean, I don't even know how far off that is in real life. I mean, I don't.
Yeah, I don't know, because artificial intelligence, which is basically what this thing was. It's like it's quite a grey area at the moment because people don't really want to do it, but people want to try it. And,
because it's just like it's obviously praised on that fear of like AI becoming too smart and stuff like that.
Yeah,
because it's sort of like they have like an Alexa in this world, but M3GAN like can hack the Alexa basically. And then,
so that's how it ends, isn't it? M3GAN's been killed at the end, but before she dies, she hacks into this. What's it called? It's not called.
Transfers.
It's not called Alexa.
I was supposed to say Alexi, but that's not.
Elise.
I think it's Elise or something.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, she hacks into it, and you can just see it at the end. It turns around. I mean, they're already talking about doing a sequel. It's already been confirmed that that's in talks.
So
that's the obvious.
Yeah, because it basically ends with M3GAN gets killed by Katie and her aunt. They have like a fight in the garage, basically. Kill M3GAN. So the sequel they're saying is going to be basically picks up again where it's going to be the same characters coming back. So M3GAN, Katie, and then her aunt coming back. So it's probably going to be either like a new family gets a M3GAN, or it's going to be M3GAN's going to be hunting down basically the people she tried killing in this film, essentially.
Sort of going back, but yeah.
Be a typical Hollywood horror film, really.
I'd say if you've got nothing better to do one evening, it's worth, or maybe if it like comes out on streaming or something, then it's worth a watch. I think it was good evening out was all, I think.
Yeah, I think it was, I'd say, a fun time, and like the comedy as well was good in it as well. Actually,
it was, and I think because it doesn't take itself too seriously, all like the jokes it tries to make, even if you're thinking that's really stupid, it's all the intention of it. Like,
it's very because there's like a scene where M3GAN sings a lullaby to Katie, but it's just the song Titanium,
Weird,
and you're just like, what?
Yeah, I feel like it's like the thing where people say people can't predict your move if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah,
I feel like that's kind of the approach that they took. To the comedy in this.
I mean, off the bat, it starts off with like a fake toy ad, and it's basically like, "Oh, I love my pet dog. Oh, but he's dead. I need to get this like electronic."
Yeah, your dog dies,
pet.
so get this thing that never dies in the form of a of a Furby, basically. That's what it is at the beginning.
Yeah, it's just that means pretty consistent humour throughout. I was always like laughing with the film, not like at the film.
Yeah.
Like the film knew what it was doing and like it did it well, like the jokes it did.
Definitely. Yeah, I would say so.
And like again with sort of a premise like it was like, and sort of M3GAN being this weird sort of like obviously childish but then also can do TikTok dances. It was a bit like, you know, your antagonist is a bit stupid anyway, or like you know, it does it well. It does a good balance of like sort of trying to be unsettling.
I think it is a
and then
good
also
balance,
being funny, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think we'd all rate it out of 10? We were having a discussion as to whether we should rate things out of 10 or rate them out of 5. But I said, because whenever Michael says, oh yeah, I'd give it a 4 out of 5, which would be like a 7 or 8 out of 10.
Would be an 8.
And I was like, I understand out of 10 more. What do you
Well,
do you
out
think,
of 5,
Kieran?
you just times it by 2, and then you've got
But
out of 10.
Double it.
Pointless.
And
We may as well just do it
Tell
out
that
of
to
10.
Empire magazine, Doolett. Tell
Shut
it
up,
to...
I don't read Empire magazine. Kieran, what's your opinion? Because I don't care about Michael's opinion, unless you agree with him. In which case...
Unless you agree with him, in which case I don't care about
Yeah.
your opinion either. I've never really given a lot of thought as to which I prefer. I mean, I'd probably go 1 to 10 rather than stars. I
Yeah.
think stars can just be a bit annoying sometimes.
It's not as accurate, I
Yeah.
don't think, when you've not got... It's like if you were going to give it out of 100, you might say, like, oh, you know, 77, you know.
I feel like,
I think when you do out of 10, you sort of know that like 5 or 6 is average, 7 or 8 is good, 9 out of 10 is really good, and then sort of 1 to 4 is bad,
Just
basically.
awful, yeah.
I think I can agree with like the 1 to 10 thing, but when you start getting into like, you know, 7.2, that's
Oh,
where,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
where
yeah,
you've
I'm not
completely
doing that.
lost me.
It's 1 to 10, maybe a half, because I said this is maybe like a 7 or 8.
Yeah, I'd agree with 7. Not an 8, but like a 7.
What do you think, Kieran?
Yeah, I'd probably say maybe mid 6.5.
Oh, 6.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think
But I'm not
But
a massive horror lover.
Yeah. I think story wise it's all probably, you know, not very run of the mill, not very...
Yeah, I think I'm probably judging it more like it's probably a very average horror film, but just the fun of us going to the cinema and I think it was popcorn and some Maltesers. That was great.
I think it was a fun experience, and like, it was a very funny film, and there were very interesting stuff going on. But like plot wise, it was a bit like it took a bit of a while to get going of like actually getting M3GAN into it, and then it tries for like these sort of emotional scenes which didn't really land for me because it's a bit like this film is a bit stupid anyway. So I feel like you trying to be like, oh, but I miss my mum and dad. Oh, it's just like no.
Some of that doesn't really work, but I think some of that can be down to like the acting. You know, like I know there.
But then again, that's horror films, though. Like you're not going to watch many.
Absolutely.
It's only like every so often you get like horror films with like A tier acting, you know. But I think a strong 7 out of 10. Very good time to say go watch it if you haven't already, or wait for it to come on.
I think it's worth
streaming.
Worth a quick watch.
Yeah,
I would
say so. It's not too long either. It's
No,
kind of a
it's
reasonable
not.
length.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so that makes all the difference, doesn't it? Yeah.
So moving on to the next film then, which is Banshees of Inisherin. So we've all watched that one recently. Basic plot really of this film is Colin Farrell's character Patrick, I think is how you pronounce it, and then Brendan Gleeson's character Colm basically don't want to speak to each other anymore. Colm cuts off Patrick completely and says, I want nothing to do with you, and we can't be friends anymore. So it's essentially really this story of them trying to adjust to this new norm, and of sort of Colin Farrell's character's like reluctance to let go, and sort of the conflict and stuff that arises from that really. So I guess initially, what did everyone think of the film?
Very depressing overall, I would say.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I was crying throughout the whole film because, spoiler alert, the first thing Michael told me before we even started to watch this film was, just to warn you, the donkey dies.
Yeah.
So every time the donkey was on the screen, I was just in tears already.
Yeah.
So it was just completely ridiculous. But this film sort of wound me up a little bit when I was watching, because I don't like it when people aren't friends in films anyway.
Yeah.
Like, that's just any film where there's that bit in the middle where the two main characters aren't friends. It always just winds me up. So this whole film is based on that. And it just really made me hate Brendan Gleeson's character. Like, I just really disliked him, which I suppose means he's done his job right,
Yeah, it's a credit. Yeah, it's a credit to him, because he is, at the end of the day, playing this stubborn, headstrong character who even goes to the lengths of saying, if I, from now on, we're not going to speak to each other, and every time you do talk to me, or if you even try to, acknowledge me, I'm going to cut my fingers off. and you know, I'm basically not going to stop until either you don't want to be friends with me, or I don't have any. Sorry about that. That's the dog. Don't have any fingers left, basically. So it's, you know, again, credit to him. He's sort of this hateable, but you kind of get where he's coming from, because he does have this motivation as to why he doesn't want to speak to Colin Farrell anymore.
Yeah, you can definitely sort of understand what his motives are, but it still doesn't make him any of like a nicer character, because the whole point is that, yeah, Colin Farrell might be a bit dull, but he's just a nice person. Yeah. And that's all you can really ask for in life, is to just, you know, meet nice people and be a nice person, really, which he isn't really being. So.
No. What did you think, Kieran?
Yeah, as I say, just from the get-go, really, it was just very depressing, very kind of, you know, heavy kind of themes and stuff that they were dealing with. Because obviously, like, you can understand where Brendan Gleeson's character's coming from, because, like, they've grown up on this island together, and they're probably, what, you know, getting on 50, 60 maybe in this film.
Yeah.
So they're like old men, and, you know, Brendan Gleeson just feels like he can't do anything with Colin Farrell's character in his life. So it's kind of, he's trying to think about solely himself, but then obviously Colin Farrell is like, can't come to terms with that and is in denial. So he's, you know, you can see kind of the struggle on his side, but you can kind of understand the reasons why Brendan Gleeson might have gone that way. Yeah. But he's obviously done it in a very headstrong, stubborn, you know, way over the top.
Yeah, because he literally just, you know, the very, you don't really get any background about their friendship. You more learn about their friendship through their sort of non-argument that they're having, where, you know, one's talking and the other's not listening, because it literally just starts with, I'm not speaking to you anymore, please don't speak to me, and that's it. And that must be really, like, must be very unsettling for a person.
And like, you do, I mean, it's probably like a commentary on like the durability of like friendship as well, when it comes to sort of friendship versus, I guess, like progress, or versus like careers and stuff. Sometimes that gets put to like the wayside, because I mean, sort of in like the first, I guess, couple of days in the film, when they're not friends, you do see Brendan Gleeson writes this new like fiddle piece. He's like, oh, look what I've done, like, already, like, I'm already accomplishing stuff, like, now I'm not speaking to you, and we're not, you know, you're not boring me, basically. So you kind of do see it, and then it gets to the point where he's so like headstrong and stubborn that he even jeopardizes his like new accomplishments for the sake of like trying to commit to like this promise he made. If you speak to him, I'm going to cut my fingers off, even if that means I can't play the fiddle anymore. You know, that's how much I don't want to be friends.
Which just seems absolutely mad. It's like, and this is what I mean. This is why I just had no like empathy for him at all, because I was just like, how can you think like that? How could you possibly want to injure yourself that much just over this one thing? You know, but
because then it's not even like the first time it is, he cuts off one finger, and then that's it. Like, he kind of struggles to play the fiddle a bit, but then the next time, like, Colin Farrell like annoys him so much, he's like, look, I'm going to cut all my remaining 4 fingers off this hand if you talk to me again. And then he does, like, which obviously leads to the donkey.
Yeah, that is what kills the donkey, is him throwing the fingers, and the donkey gets hold of it, and that's it. And it's devastating. I don't even want to talk about this poor donkey anymore. Jenny. Oh, what a shame. R.I.P. Jenny.
Yeah, so sort of, I mean, so basically Brendan Gleeson throws his fingers at Colin Farrell's house, and then the donkey eats the fingers, chokes and dies, basically. And then it sort of sets Colin Farrell's character over the edge, and he goes to like the pub and is like, look, I'm going to burn your house down tomorrow, regardless whether you're in it or not. I'm going to burn it down, so, you know, I'll see you at 2:00 or whatever. And then he burns the house down, saves his dog, saves Brendan Gleeson's dog, because he's not a monster. And then the movie ends with basically them on this beach, sort of meeting each other for what could be like the final time, sort of parting ways again. But then there is like this slight, would you think there's like a slight sort of glimmer of them fixing things, like a little bit?
I feel like they've gone through this, you know, both have had what is quite a traumatic experience, obviously Colin Farrell losing because throughout the film as well, he loses his friend because his friend kind of thinks Barry Keoghan's character.
Oh yeah,
because they were quite friendly.
Yeah.
He loses that friend as well because he becomes quite bitter.
Yeah.
Colin Farrell. And then his sister obviously goes into the mainland as well, so she leaves, and then he loses the last kind of family, I guess, that he has left in this donkey. So he's gone through a very traumatic experience, and then kind of takes those actions to burn down Brendan Gleeson's house, and obviously Brendan Gleeson's lost his house. So they both, from this, what started as a very small thing, has developed into some things with very serious kind of consequences. So I feel like by the end of it, they're both, kind of exhausted of this battle that they've been having. And kind of had like a little friendly remark, thank you for looking after my dog.
I think all the way through you can sort of feel that they care a lot about each other. Anytime they're sort of, like there's a scene where Colin Farrell gets beaten up, doesn't he, by the police officer?
Yeah.
And it's Brendan Gleeson who does sort of come to his aid. I mean, there's no words spoken, but you can tell that there's that care there.
Yeah.
And I don't think that you can ever lose that unless there's been something traumatic that's happened. I don't think you ever stop caring for somebody that you've, shared a lot of your life with as friends or whatever. But I mean, I think it's got its aim though. Oscar nominations across the board for all three of them. Well, three of them: Colin Farrell, Brendan Gleeson, and Barry Keoghan. Who I want to win.
I guess just to
best supporting actor.
I guess to move on to sort of that, because obviously we've talked about Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson, the main two characters. What did you think about the side people? So that will be, Barry Keoghan was sort of the main one, and then who played
Kerry Condon?
Who played Colin Farrell's character
I think
sister.
they're all good in it. Like I think they all sort of work quite well together, really, and I think that's the main thing. Sometimes it's not necessarily what one actor does, just and how they speak the lines. Like you still need that bit of back and forth, don't you? And I think I just loved Barry Keoghan in it, to be honest. I thought that he just offered a bit of like lightheartedness, really, even though again his story was really sad. Like it gave you a bit of comedic relief too.
Because he saw this character who is like the town sort of reject. His dad is the local policeman, but then he abuses him basically, and then also he doesn't have the best of luck with women because one of his thing is basically just trying to chat up girls, which includes Colin Farrell's sister. And then by the end of the film, it's not really explained what happens, but he's basically found dead in a lake with no extra. So whether it was like suicide or whether it was he just fell in is what Colin Farrell thinks happened. So it's unclear, but definitely one of the best people in it.
Absolutely, and I do want him to win his Oscar, but I think the whole film is a bit sad, a bit melancholy. So I think if you want to watch this film, you have to be in a good good place to be able to watch it.
Well, the same person who did this did Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri again, which was like another film where it wasn't necessarily the happiest and it was quite this grim storyline, but then also that got a lot of Oscar buzz and like awards buzz as well, and like got a load of nominations. So
I do think that's that sort of it's dark in a different way, I think, because it's more like harsh.
This one's just more depressing, I think. That one's kind of, Three Billboards is sad. This one's just like, this is like,
it's a bit, I don't think I could watch it again. Like Three Billboards, I could literally, I've watched it many times. I could put it on right now and sit and watch it. I actually love that film, even though it makes me cry. But this film, I think that I'll wash my hands of it now. I don't think I'll watch it again.
Really, I think I could watch it again.
You never want to watch anything again.
Yeah, but
when we watch something that's like the best film we've ever seen, but I'm not watching it again. Definitely, I'm not watching it again for at least another year. And now you're saying that you want to watch it.
Well, no, I just feel like I could go back to it, just because it was, I think at the heart of it, it was good performances and everything, and like it did have like its level of charm there, So I do feel like it could be one to rewatch,
Well, you can watch that on your own then.
Yeah, well, no, I wouldn't subject it to you again just because of Jenny. Yeah.
I'm not putting myself through that. If there was devastating.
If there was a director's cut of the film which didn't feature any Jenny death, or if there was a reworked alternate ending where Jenny comes back.
If it was all humans that die, then I can cope with that. But if there's any animals, dogs, donkeys, whatever, even if it was just like a bird that hits the window and dies, I'd be upset about it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But I think we've talked about that enough. So scores out of 10 for this one, I would maybe say a 6.
So you'd give it less than M3GAN?
Yeah, I didn't enjoy it as much as M3GAN. Like, M3GAN was just such a fun experience. But this was all just very... I mean, even when we've talked about it now, it's all very like, oh, when this happens and oh, the donkey dies and oh, they're all really sad. You know, but M3GAN was like, oh, this is a bit stupid, but it's fun and I enjoyed myself watching it. But I couldn't say that I enjoyed... But I could appreciate it, but I wasn't enjoying myself.
Your ratings are more based on like how much you enjoyed it, how much fun you had.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Whereas me and Kieran are a bit more critical of our reviews.
Oh, yes, well, you're the proper review people and I'm just the one who only cares about the animals in the film.
Yeah.
Great.
No, it's a very legitimate way of doing
it. No, that is true.
Enjoyment value and then actual kind of critically how good it is.
Yeah.
You know, very different things.
Yeah.
So, you know, in terms of how much I enjoyed the film, I would say
0.
probably, you know, it's quite low. It's a very depressing film. It's not one that you can enjoy as such. So, you know, a 6 out of 10 is probably, you know, all right there.
Yeah.
But in terms of how good I thought the film was, you know, it's up, you know, 8.5. Maybe.
Yeah, I'd probably say an 8 as well.
I can appreciate it as like when you think about it from the filmmaker's perspective, and you think about all that, you know, just like all the acting's very good in it, all the places where they filmed it. And the jumpers, you know, all their nice... hear me out here.
Yeah.
All their nice, like, knitted jumpers were all knitted by one lady who's about 83, and she knitted all the jumpers on this film.
All right.
And I just think that's lovely.
Yeah.
All, like, handmade, hand-designed. They weren't just stuff that they got off the shelf. And I think that's lovely as well. So, I'll give it a 7.
For the jumpers.
For the jumpers. I'll give it extra 1
So you get the same score as M3GAN for different reasons.
For the nice jumpers.
Yeah. No, that's fair enough.
Yeah. But, I think that's it.
That's a good way to wrap it up,
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll leave it there. So thank you so much for joining us today. This has been another episode of the Cinematic Trinity. And we'll see you again next week where we're going to be talking about back to games, where we talk about remakes and remasters and what our thoughts or opinions are on there. So I've been Tulip.
I've been Michael.
I've been Kieran.
And thank you for watching. Bye.
Bye.